looking at this person as a jerk or something. Alright, now, stay over there with her. Okay? Yeah, because they're phony. Phony thug, jackass. And who they is that left you hanging. Well, they gonna learn today. Karmic lesson. They is fucked up over you, baby, because they really want to reconcile with you. We got mixed signals. They thought they can give you mixed signals here. Okay, so the signals is getting crossed when it comes to telepathic communication towards you, divine feminine here. Because you already had a dream or you got clarity here that this person is going through some sort of drama. That's why you was moving on. Yeah. You knew somebody could even had a baby with somebody here. And they wasn't going to be happy because they bumping heads with this person they had all this reckless sex with. And this is just confirmation for somebody to know that somebody is butthurt right now because they know you was right and they really feel stupid for even doing this. Okay? Choosing somebody else over you and shit. Yeah. Somebody is seeing the signs of the you also know this person is having secret accounts online trying to cope. Just trying to cope. Like this is even... if you got some sort of platform or something, I'm commenting under your stuff. Even if you don't, even if it's Facebook, Instagram, you add them and this is a fake person, but anything to talk to you, kind of energy, anything to get 2 words out of you, anything to say, hey, they'll do the most, like, for you to say hi. After being shady to you with this person had love affair or had sex with or whatever, you decided to love yourself, and that's when they could have lost their job. You decided to love yourself here, and somebody could have been upset right now because it can't close a cycle if you reject them telepathically. Oh shit. So you rejecting somebody even telepathically, they can't get in, okay? They can't get a new cycle with you if you reject them. Okay, so your clarity, your signs and synchronicity, like I said, when I heard that nobody, I'm missing you, nobody know, I said shut up. Instantly, I ain't even let the whole song play. I ain't even let, I heard, and shut up. That's what I said. So, you shutting it down because you know what this person is trying to do. They shouldn't have never chose the bitch kind of energy, and that's where your ancestors and then on top of that, you gonna partner up with her to do me something. You're fucking weird. I would like somebody went too far. It's like to the point where they know they messed up with you. It's like they know they fucked up. Because it's like, why would you do all of that? When you know I never did nothing to you. That's crazy. Like, how are you going to be emotionally abusive to somebody that actually adores the ground that you walk on? Make it make sense. And then you, like, I could see, maybe they felt like, this is another thing. Maybe when y'all broke up the first time, maybe y'all broke up a couple times. Maybe when y'all broke up the first time and you could have moved on, they felt so jaded. You up here meeting somebody new, you did, so they felt like they could take it above. Like, all right, I'm gonna meet somebody new, and then I'm gonna do this with her. How you like that? So this is so shit. Like, yeah, all right. So you moved on. You didn't even care. You know, whatever. Cool. Like that's cool. They could act like they ain't care. All right. That's cute. Oh wow. Yo, oh, okay. Y'all play your house? That's great. Kind of energy. So they felt like they had to get you back. They're like, as soon as I get an opportunity, I'm going to get you back. And they like, why the fuck did I try to play that game? Because this was karma. Okay, maybe it was a reason, important reason. Like, she was supposed to go find her life purpose. You ain't have to do that to her or him kind of energy. I told them to go find their life purpose. Like, you just went too far. Somebody could have did something crazy. I'm just telling you. Okay? Yeah, man. We got cycles and triggers and lessons here. It's too late because they was being shady. I can't make that up. Shady family is under spiritual attack. They wish they had an option, but they don't have no other option. Okay?
Oh boy.
It's too late to soul search. Okay? Kind of energy. It's too late to go within and try to, God said, you get what you get. Maybe their family even helped them do some shady shit to y'all. Out of their ego, this person under spiritual attack, God making them feel about the size of a damn, what's them called? Mustard seed ass. And that somebody feeling that small. Like God is breaking somebody down. They down bad. If they not down bad, it's a downward spiral. They can't get up. It's like one thing after another, after another, after another, after another. And as soon as they felt like, and that's another part of that song, that David Bowie song, whatever, changes. He said, as soon as I looked like something was going to go good for them, I don't know the words, but he said it. There's something about something was going to go good for them. It didn't. It was an illusion. So it's like they feel like they was being tortured. It's like as soon as they felt like something was going to go right, God says, yoink. Nope. Remember when you left them on red? Got it. Remember that time you had walked you after I had told you to do and it's not just about them doing stuff to you, divine feminines. It's more so them not listening.
Well, you do not want to be the first good this woman has ever met in her life. Bro, she gonna destroy you, bro. She gonna mishandle you, bro. You get what I'm saying? All that chaos that she been dealing with, bro. No, bro. You gotta realize, is you being a good man, for all the fellas listen to this, if you know you're a good man, you gotta realize you're a patient man, you're understanding man. You got foresight on where you want to take your life, where you see you being at, and all that type of stuff. If a woman ain't never had a good man in her life, bro, she don't understand the vision. She has no foresight. You get what I'm saying? She doesn't have patience. All she knows is combative things. And then she's picked up a lot of trauma that she's not letting go. You get what I'm saying? So all of that balled up into one woman, bro. 9 times out of 10, that woman will destroy you, bro. Well, you do not want to be the first good that this woman has ever met in her life. Bro,
that's true, man. That's true. That's true what he's saying. You know, a woman get towed down by the men that she had before you. Then when you come in, she gonna blame you for what they done, and then they gonna still be there. But she not happy with them. But you know, she wanted somebody better for the money or for the, you know, whatever she wanted.
And they wish they could have find some options.
You know what I'm saying? She wasn't looking for love because she had the love. She just didn't have the money. You know what I'm saying? And you was somebody that had kids and, you know, had a job, you know, in the industry that she worked in. So,
they feel like you're not going to talk to them
you
on the
got picked out to be picked on, buddy. That's all. That's all.
This is crazy. Wow. Look what came out.
That's all.
They feel like shit, childhood wounds.
But you there now, shit.
This person
You
could have
me
been
now,
bullied,
shit.
sexually
You
abused,
gotta worry
physically,
about
mentally,
shit now.
emotionally toxic.
Call that goddamn bank, tell them open that motherfucker up.
That's
all
why
you
they
need
are
to do.
in this energy of toxic
I need
lifestyle
that truck,
and
I
crazy
need that goddamn
psycho.
house.
That's how they got hooked. This was the trauma bonded energy.
That goddamn line.
It's like, yeah, I was abused by my mom and dad too, and this one was abused by her mom and dad too.
Real quick.
Yeah.
For these kids. While they
like
2 and 3.
They could have met at a party, or they, you know, was very promiscuous. I'm hearing
with a better
promiscuous.
fence in the yard, you know what I'm saying? I don't need him to get out and get stolen or something.
Okay. And sexual energy. Remember, sexual unity. Honor the place in one another,
you know
where
what I'm saying?
You are one eternal soul, for there you will find true bliss.
I'm gonna name my Simba tub.
They cheated. They gave it away. All right. They tried to make you feel bad, or like you weren't good enough for them, or something like that, or you weren't something. But you was everything. But they was just so. It was like, how? Like, why would God give me everything? Like that didn't make sense to them when y'all met, or when y'all that didn't make sense to them. Okay. And they like, why would God give me like what? Like, nah, man, like that's crazy.
Let me hear this girl's testimony. This look like Miss Owens. You know what I'm saying? This look like Miss Owens. I hope that ain't you, Aunt Sue. You know what I'm saying? Because Aunt Sue stayed in a coma and Aunt Bessie stayed in a coma for years. And that was Susie Owens and Bessie McNeil.
14 years
you know
ago,
what I'm saying?
in 2009, I was staying with my mom temporarily with my two kids, who at the time were 6 and I believe 1.5. My oldest, my daughter, was about 6 years old, and my son was about 1.5. I was staying with my mother temporarily and my stepfather. They were living in a 2-bedroom apartment at the time. They both worked second or third shift. I can't really remember. But at the time, they would get home around 11, 12 o'clock in the morning from work. And usually I would stay up late until my mom got home so we can chit chat and stuff like that. I was staying with my mom temporarily because at the time I was with my kid's father, who was playing professional basketball in Beijing, China. And on his off season, we would come home and I would usually stay with my mother, or we would obtain temporary housing in like a extended stay hotel or a Marriott Residence Inn or something like that until we were to fly back to China. So my kid's father went ahead of me. He returned back to China, so we were going to fly out a few weeks after he had left. So like I said, we were staying with my mom in her 2-bedroom apartment. She had given me her master bedroom because there was a king-size bed in that bedroom, so me and my 2 kids would have enough space to sleep. So this particular night, I was sitting up on the bed like I'm sitting up now, my back against the headboard, and I was watching a TV show. To the left of me was my 1-year-old son in the middle, and then my daughter was on the outside of my son at the far left. And they were both fast asleep. They were asleep. And so I was watching TV when all of a sudden I felt the energy in the room change. It was like an atmospheric change. The only thing that I can kind of put it into words, it was like a shift in the energy. So it was an awareness that I had that something spiritual was happening. At the time, I wasn't a Christian. I wasn't following any of God's commandments like faithfully or anything like that. I didn't have a relationship with the Lord. I wasn't reading the Bible. To make a long story short, I didn't have a relationship with God. I didn't know him. And at the time, I don't remember if I had even a genuine desire in my heart to know who he was. Also keep in mind that my grandmother was and still is a pastor. My mother was a praying woman. She had a healthy prayer life, to my knowledge, at the time, especially. So I did have family and friends around me who were praying for me and praying for my salvation and stuff like that. And I knew that. My mom constantly reminded me that she wanted me to give my life to the Lord. And I just wasn't into that. My God at the time was my kids and my kids' father. That was what I worshiped, my life with them. And so, like I said, I was sitting in the room, wide awake, watching a television show, when all of a sudden I felt the atmosphere in the room change, and I had a keen awareness that something spiritual was going to happen. Next thing I know, the TV turned off. It just turned off, like someone hit the power button. And so I turned to my left to see if one of the kids rolled over on the remote control. And as I turned, I saw to my left that the remote control wasn't even over there. It wasn't even on the side of me. And so the next thing that I thought to do was to make sense of what was happening, because what was happening, it scared me, but I just was in so much disbelief that something weird was going on that my brain immediately went into trying to make sense of what was going on. So I said, well, maybe, I said this to myself, I said, oh, well, the power must have went out. So then the next thing I knew, I was panning back to the front of me to see if anything else had turned off. And my mother had a digital alarm clock on her dresser that was right next to the television set. And so I looked at the alarm clock and it was still on. It had really bright red numbers so that I could clearly see that the power to the alarm clock was still on. So when I saw that, I immediately knew that the power hadn't went out. So exhausting all the possibilities that my mind could make sense of why the TV turned out, I knew then it was made plain to me that something was happening.
And the next feeling I felt was, the feeling was what was happening was leading up to something more strange, or something that I couldn't explain in the physical was going to happen. And as soon as that happened, I felt a tugging behind me, like someone had lassoed me, like a rope was put around my waist and I was snatched back. And the feeling was just like I said, it just felt like somebody snatched me out the room. I don't remember a traveling period. Like, I don't remember going through a tunnel. I don't remember seeing a light or lights. I don't remember seeing anything. The next thing I know is I was coming to a conscious awareness that I was in this space. This space that I was in was a very bright, pure white, super clean, white space. And I didn't see any walls around me. I don't even remember seeing a floor underneath me or a ceiling above me. I was just in this pure white, super clean, perfect space. And as I'm in this space, I was coming to the realization that I had been in this space for a while. It was kind of like, it felt like I had been there in suspension for a while, but that I was just coming to the acknowledgement that I was in this space. And I say that because I was hearing myself having a conversation in another language. As my conscious awareness was realizing that I'm in this space, I'm also hearing myself speaking in another language. And I don't remember exactly what was being said while this language was being spoken, but I do remember that I understood the context. And the context of the conversation that I was having, and it wasn't with myself, it was with a presence there. It was with another presence. And you guys will understand and who that presence was and is in a moment. But I was having this conversation, and the context of the conversation was that I was being told instructions, directions. I was being reminded of things. I was pretty much just like giving a synopsis of what was going on with my life and what was supposed to be going on with my life, like where I was at in life, but what was supposed to be happening in my life. And so as I'm coming to the conscious awareness that I'm hearing myself speaking in this language, and keep in mind, this is telepathically. I knew that I wasn't moving my mouth, but I knew that my thoughts were being manifested. Like, my thoughts I could hear my own voice. So my thoughts were being spoken of out loud. I can hear my own thoughts. So, like I said, I'm coming to the realization that I'm hearing myself speaking this very, very pure, perfect, ancient language. But then I'm also able to compartmentalize my own conscious thoughts apart from this conversation that was going on. And so as I'm coming to, I start noticing that I'm in this space. I really everything starts coming to focus, like I'm in this space. And immediately when I realized the space and where I was, I knew exactly where I was. The knowledge of where I was immediately made known to me. And I knew I was in the presence of God. I knew that I was in a heavenly place in the presence of God. And so as soon as I realized that, you guys, like, I just burst. It was just like, I couldn't contain myself. The excitement was above and beyond any type of excitement, any level of excitement that I've ever felt. The joy was just beyond joy. I could not, but it was pure disbelief. The disbelief, still, I can't even measure it. It was so unbelievable to me that I was in the presence of God in this place. And so I went into full celebration mode. Like, I just was screaming at the top of my lungs. I was jumping up and down. It was to the point where I started to see that there were other people and beings off into the distance, and some that were kind of close to me, but still a little distance away. And they were turning and they were laughing. And they weren't laughing at me, but they were laughing because they understood my excitement. They knew why I was acting the way I was acting. Like, the way I was acting was really extreme. It was the joy, you just can't contain it. It was beyond containment. I could, even if I wanted to contain it, there was no way. It burst out of me. And so they were kind of chuckling and laughing, and they did that for a little bit, and then they kind of went on about their business and back to what they were doing. And this went on for a little bit, and then finally I started to understand the language. It was like it was being translated telepathically to me in English, where I could understand where this conversation was going. And then the next thing I know is I'm seeing this being in front of me, this very, very, very large being. He had to be at least 15 feet tall, because where I stood to him, I was in front of him. Where I stood to him, I only came up to his like mid-thigh. So I was able to see like up to his chest area, and the top of my head reached his mid-thigh. And this being was humongous. And I noticed the color of his skin. The color of his skin was not any type of skin tone that we have here on Earth. So I knew then that he was not a human being like us, like me. His skin tone was like melted bronze and melted gold, poured in a mixing bowl, mixed together, and it had the most perfect tone to it, this perfect shine to it, and it was just beautiful. It was beautiful. He was a man. He had a male presence to him. He was a man, and I'm going to reveal to you guys who that being was in a moment. But at that time, I didn't know who he was. I just knew that it was a member of the angelic host. And he didn't have wings. I did not see wings. If he did, maybe they were hidden from me. I didn't see wings. It was just this huge man. And he had on a pure white, spotless gown of some sort, kind of like a toga, but it was shoulder fit, and he had on warrior gear, like protection. And I noticed that he had on this very, very large waist belt, which I later saw or found in the Bible as I started to study the Word of God, that it's called a girdle. And on the girdle, he had a very, very thick, large, long sword to his side. And he was wearing gladiator type, like leather sandals, and his feet were the same color as his forearm. I remember paying attention to his forearm and his feet. Those were the two body parts that I was really intrigued with, because his skin tone was just amazing to me. And I guess it's because I knew he wasn't human, and I was like, oh my God, I'm in front of an angel. Okay, so I'm standing in front of this angel, and he's speaking to me. But as he's speaking to me, I was so beyond myself of just knowing where I was. And keep in mind, you guys, like, I still had my conscious mind. I still was Destinee. I still was me. So I was acting like me. Like, I was like able to formulate an independent thought like I would here on Earth. I was able to really just have my free will. My thoughts were just racing, and I was just worried, or not even worried, but I was more focused on what I was seeing, because I kept saying to myself, I got to remember, I want to see everything. Everything I look at, I want to have a photographic memory of it, because I knew I was going to go back. Man, I knew I wasn't there to stay. I knew I was there for a visitation, and I wanted to remember everything that I saw out there. So I just started taking like photographic memory of everything that I can like feast my eyes on. But this angel was in front of me, and he was speaking to me. But as he was speaking to me, like I said, I was so distracted by trying to just look at everything, that he was like, wah, 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 like Charlie Brown's mom. It was like, I can hear him speaking to me, and again, his mouth wasn't moving, my mouth wasn't moving. This is all telepathically, and I'm hearing my own, like I said, my own independent thoughts. I'm hearing him speak to me in this ancient, angelic, heavenly language, and I'm understanding that I hear him speaking to me in this language, but I'm like I said, I was just so blown away where I was. And so I then looked at him again, and I kept saying, man, you're so big. And he would laugh, like in between him trying to talk to me and get my attention, like, pay attention, I'm talking to you, I'm trying to explain stuff to you. And I understood the context of what our conversation was. Because again, like I said, I was able to compartmentalize an independent thought, which is what I later found to be like my soul, like me and my flesh, like the soul of my flesh, and then the spirit form of me. So he was speaking to my spirit. That's why the language he was speaking, I would hear it in that heavenly language, and wouldn't understand it in my carnal mind. So my soul mind, I wasn't able to hear it or understand it, but I can hear it. But he was speaking to me, to the spirit me. And so he was trying to, get me to pay attention. Like, I'm telling you something really important. And I understood the context of the conversation. And again, he was telling me stuff like, you have so much to do and so little time. You have this to do and that to do. And he was saying all these things that I'm supposed to be doing. And I wasn't paying any attention. I was just like, oh my God, I cannot believe the Father brought me up in here. Like, it was crazy to me. My mind was completely blown. And then I was able to, it must have been something that he said or did that it snapped me into like pay attention. And then that's when I started paying attention to what he was saying to me. And then I started catching what he was saying. And he was saying, you have so much to do. God has so much to do, so much for you to do. And you haven't even started yet. And so I knew that this conversation was serious and I needed to pay attention. Okay, so then the next thing I noticed, I see
like Malone
behind
calling
him,
you when y'all,
I don't know if it was maybe 100 feet,
telling you
200
it's gonna
feet
be a
behind
war
him.
when y'all get in y'all 50s.
I don't know. It was a distance away.
So
like,
where
kind of
you
like
at the wall right now?
My left,
in the war
to
room,
his
Malone.
right, behind him, and I
war
see this
room,
form. And this form,
what I call Malone?
It looks like me. It looked just like me. The hair,
I had a nickname for
the
Malone.
clothes, the body build, the weight, the height, everything was me. It was like I was looking at myself in the mirror, but I didn't recognize the form. I didn't recognize it.
Shit.
But I knew it was me. And it was crazy because I kept saying, well, if that's me, who am I?
That's what I call it.
And I know that sounds just very confusing, but you'll understand what I'm trying to explain to you guys in a moment.
Shit,
that's your loan. I keep getting distracted
and I'm
never got
trying to
see
repay
this
me
form
back,
was. The next thing I know is the angel kind of moves out the way because he sees that he notices that I see this
Malone, man. I just can't call you right now, man.
And that I kept saying, I started like battling with myself, like my inner self, like my thoughts. I was saying, like I said, my soul mind was saying, which is my carnal mind, I was saying,
talk again.
That can't be me.
Shit.
That can't be me. But then I would have another thought, and I would say, but it looks just like me. That looks just like me. That has to be me. But how can that be me if I'm me? I'm right here. Why does that look like me? And I was doing this for a while.
Like Casey too,
and then all of a sudden, I heard a voice. And this voice sounded like if you took a river, all the rivers that exist and ever existed, ocean, all the oceans, all the seas, all the ponds, all the lakes, all the power of water, throw some thunder in there, throw some lightning in there. I'm telling you, this voice was so authoritative, so strong, so powerful. And I heard this voice. I never saw a face or a body or anything like that. I just heard this voice, and it said, that is you. And again, I'm shocked. I'm like thrown back, like what? And I'm fixated on this form. And I'm knowing that this voice is not coming from the angel. This voice is God, you guys. I'm hearing God speak to me in this place. And I'm looking back, I'm fixated on this form. And again, I'm wrestling with this idea that this is me. Because like I said, this form looked like me. And it wasn't doing anything. It was just standing there, like at attention, like just standing there. And I kept saying, and again, like I said, you guys, this argument with my carnal mind and my spirit awareness, I'm going, no, this can't be me. But then I'm like, but it looks too much like me for it not to be me. And then again, I heard the voice. God spoke to me again, and it was a little bit more stern this time. And he said, that is you. And again, I'm wrestling with this idea that this is me, because I'm like, there's no way. And then the third time he said, that is you. And it was even more powerful when he said it. And when he said it the third time, you guys, it was like, the feeling was like if you took a rubber band and you stretched the rubber band out as far as you can before it breaks, and let it go. And how the power of the retention of you pulling that rubber band and how it pops together. I popped into this body, this form. That's the power of God's voice when he said, that is you. He was making me understand. It was like he declared it, and I couldn't argue with him anymore. He said it the third time, I pop into this form. And when I'm in this form, the next thing I know is the angel's in front of this form. And I'm understanding that the angel is reading commandments to this form, and it's telling me, you're going to do this, you're going to do this, and there's this long list of all these commandments that God has commanded me to do. And I'm able to have an awareness that I'm inside this spirit. Like, I wasn't inside the spirit body. I became one with this spirit. I became this spirit form. My existence is now this body, which was what I learned later to be a glorified body. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to explain how that body looked, you guys, in a moment. But so I'm in this spirit form now, and I'm hearing the angel read off all of these commandments, and he was holding like a notepad, like a scroll, like a book, and he was reading off everything that God had written for me to do in my life, the will of God. He was reading off the will of God over my life, and every time he would say something, there was no argument, there was no debate, there was no, well, when, how, where, none of that was going on. The spirit body was obeying. I was saying yes, yes, yes. Like, it was written, it was done. And so once that happened, and I'm giving you guys the condensed version of this experience. So once that happened, now I'm outside of the body again. So now I'm back into my spirit form, and now I'm completely intrigued with this form, this spirit body. And the angel saw that I was like, I had a curiosity. I needed to know what was going on. And so the angel stepped back and moved out the way. And then all of a sudden I found myself, it was like God took me by the scruff of my neck and started giving me a tour around. And I was given a 360 tour of this spirit body. And as I'm being slowly, circulated around this spirit body, God is like magnifying everything that I'm fixing my eyes on. I started looking at the skin. That's what got me to be fixated on the spirit body in the first place. Not because it looked like me, because I saw it shining. It was like if you found a mother of pearl in the purest water, the purest ocean water, seawater that you could ever see. Like it was shining and reflective and beautiful. So I'm looking at this spirit body, and I'm noticing that the skin that is on this spirit form is made of all these different gemstones. I mean, I don't even know if gemstones that I saw exist on this earth or have ever existed on this earth, but if you can imagine any gemstone, every gemstone that ever existed, and will ever exist, that God has ever made, will make, it looked like
leprosy.
Like it was crushed.
It looked like it's that
diamonds,
leprosy,
rubies,
but
emeralds.
It ain't leprosy, but what she talking about is like when I used to get them allergies, and then used to get that little mosquito bite bump, and it spread and it spread, and I be thinking I'm gonna get that stuff like my mama and get spots on my body like Michael Jackson.
This body of this form, and then God would even make it so that like it would be magnified, like my eyes would just zoom in. I was able to zoom in like to get a closer look, and I would see that they were individual diamonds, individual pearls, individual emeralds, individual rubies, just billions upon trillions upon zillions of them that made up the skin of this form. And like I said, the form didn't say anything. The only time I heard it speak is when I was able to hear it obeying the will of God, being called out by this angel. And so after that happened, I was just blown away again. I'm just like, oh my God, I go into full praise, glorifying God, like this is crazy, this is amazing, like I can't believe I'm here. I could not believe, I'm going to emphasize that, you guys, I probably said that probably 20 times the whole time I was there. I could not believe I was in this place. Now at this time, I started getting intrusive thoughts. Like I was hearing my thoughts tell me, like every time I would like be like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm here, I'm glorifying God, I'm praising God that God allowed me to be in this space, right? And then I would hear a thought say, but you're a sinner and God doesn't allow sinners in heaven. And then I would hear another thought, and then I would, each time I would hear these thoughts, I would get more diminished and more down and more shame and more embarrassed that I was there, because I was like, well, what if God is hearing these negative thoughts, like, and what if he realizes that I'm not supposed to be here and kicks me out? And so I would start hearing, you're a sinner, you're dirty, you're nasty, God doesn't allow dirt in his house, like all these different intrusive negative thoughts. And then once that happened, The next thing I know is me and the angel are standing on a balcony. So we're standing on this balcony. This balcony was super duper 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 high in the sky. I'm gonna say 1,000 feet at least easy, you guys. And then I look at the banister, like the railing of the balcony, and you guys, I'm tripping out over the railing of the balcony. The balcony was made of pure marble and diamonds. You can see the diamonds, the crushed diamonds, like it was blended into the marble. You could see the banister just shining and reflecting, and it was crazy. I just want to go back a little bit because I did leave out a piece, and the Holy Spirit is like reminding me to say this part because it's important that I say this in the beginning. Now, when I first got there, like I mentioned in the beginning, that I was in this pure white space, there was a mist. I was standing in the midst of a mist. It was like this thick, clean, cool mist. It was like the perfect mist. And then, like I said, once I started coming to the realization and hearing this heavenly language, this conversation that my spirit self was having with this angel, that's when the mist started dissipating, and that's when I was first able to see where I was. I started seeing like I was in an actual place, like a city, a land. I was in a place. Okay, so back to the balcony and the banister. So then I'm looking at the banister. I'm seeing that this banister is like beautifully made. I mean, it was beautiful. It was these big spiral columns that went on like the length of the balcony. And then I looked to the left to see how long the balcony was, and I saw that the balcony went on that for balcony. Miles.
I think
down in the distance, I saw that same mist.
I just saw that balcony
down at the very. I
knew
I'm
on it
now.
I'm on it now.
I was only able to see
but
to a certain distance because there was that mist that I saw when I first got there, covering what was
and
beyond.
Then you can see an arena down below us.
So
you can see an arena.
To see this. What was beyond
where them dudes
that
used
mist.
to fight at,
And
but they not fighting
mist,
no more. They got swords down, and they all got their swords, and they bowing down to you right now.
That mist.
Daddy,
and then I looked to the right, and then I saw the mist again, and I saw the edge of the balcony, but again there was this mist, like maybe 6 to 8 feet. Of the balcony to the right of me, and then there was this mist, and then I wasn't able to see past that.
I want to say that to you.
And then the angel was on my right, and then so I looked down, and I saw the top of these palm trees, and these palm tree leaves were humongous. They were green, lush, beautiful palm tree leaves, and it was about 3 palm trees. I think I seen 3 palm trees for sure.
Even though
I only was able to see the top of these palm trees in about maybe 1.5 feet of the trunk of the palm tree, and then there was that mist again. And I understood when I looked down because I had, when I was looking down and I saw the tops of these palm trees, I kind of had the thought like, oh, I wonder what's down there. And again, as soon as I laid eyes on the mist, I knew that I wasn't permitted. It was forbidden for me to see what the mist was covering. I wasn't able to see that. And it wasn't like and when I saw this mist, I just knew. Like I didn't ask. It was like, you're not permitted to see what this mist is covering. You're not permitted to see the ground. And so I was like, okay. And then the next thing I knew, again, I'm still like tripping out, you guys. I'm like, again, like I said in the beginning, I was so tripped out that I was actually here in this place. My main goal from that point, when I realized where I was to just soak everything up, soak as much as I can up, because I knew that eventually I was going to go back to my body on earth, and that I didn't want to forget anything. So then the next thing I remember is I looked up in the sky, and then that's when I wanted another hit of that goddamn legal. And I looked up in the sky,
I get to where I knew I was going to have to go back to that body, I didn't want to go back to that body.
You know the 007 portal, when the movie first comes on and it opens, that little black thing, that little thing, that ring that opens up and closes? I saw 2 of those, and one was here and one was here, and they were made of solid gold, not a gold that we have on earth. It's like a supernatural gold. This gold was shining. It was like almost orange. That's how gold it was.
Yeah.
And
like
I
the ring
understood
around you when you spray water.
Type of gold is like, it's like protection. It's like protection. Like nothing that is not allowed to get in can get in, and nothing that is not allowed to leave out can get out. And so I'm looking up at these portals, and I'm tripping out over there. I'm like, oh my God, this is crazy. Like, oh my God, these are portals. And so I'm seeing these portals open and close, and the one at the top, it opened and I saw a vessel come in, and the vessel looked like the speed train in Japan. There's a bullet speed train in Japan. It looked like that, and it probably seats maybe 8 people, this little vessel that I saw come in. And I saw the vessel, and it flew in. It didn't have wings or anything like that. It just was just flying, like, you know, in the air through this portal, and it came in. And then I saw the second portal that was underneath it open, and then I saw a vessel leaving out through the portal. And again, like I said, I'm glorifying God. I'm jumping up and down. I can't believe it. I'm like, oh my God, this is so cool. This is crazy. These are portals. These are actual vessel contraptions. And then when I said that, the thought in my head was, you know, the curiosity, like, what do they do? And then one thing about when you're in the presence of God, there is nothing hidden from you. Like, you have all knowledge. You have access to all wisdom. Like, you have it. God allows you to have it. He shares his wisdom and knowledge with you. And so as I'm asking myself, I'm not even asking myself, I'm just having like the thought of curiosity, and the answer is being given to me right then and there. And so when I looked at the portals and I was intrigued with the vessels that were going in and out, the knowledge was given to me that these vessels bring in and take out people from Earth, to and from Earth. So there's something about our soul and our flesh body and our spirit. And so when angels, and I don't have a full understanding of this, so I'm trying to explain it to you guys the way that I remember it being given to me. And it's kind of like fragmented, so bear with me. But like when angels come and bring us to this place, and we're not meant to stay there, we can't just travel through just like that. Otherwise, especially if you're in the presence of God, because you can die. Your fleshly body on earth can die. So God has these vessels to protect the angel, your body on earth, your spirit body in heaven, and your soul form, right? Because the cross-contamination of defilement, something like that. I may not be putting it into words correctly, but it's something about the cross-contamination, because God is so holy, his angels are so holy, and if you're not meant to be in that place, to stay in that place, and then that is not your permanent home, there can be something with contamination where your body on earth can die, and then you'll have to be judged. And
she right. Let me tell you, honey, what you might be missing. I don't know. You know, you might even have a little bit more to add to it. But what I'm trying to say is, this what I see, what you seen. You know, one day I was at the damn daddy, come on now, with Judy, Miss Judy, we worked for Miss Judy all the time at the tool room. So, you know, John, you know, it wasn't nowhere to take me, you know what I'm saying? You know, they got to where they was cool with me. John was cool with me. Man, I love shit out of John. That's why he rowing, you know what I'm saying? And Ernest, you know, he's right up here with Tub them, you know what I'm saying? Shit, them my grandkids, you know what I'm saying? John and Ernest, you know what I'm saying? Marty and all of them, and my boy, Mario, all of them. I seen Mario in the hospital. Yeah, he was dead, but then he was Mario, and I just didn't talk to him, you know what I'm saying? He was an old man, you know what I'm saying? Looked like Mario, but he just looked a little bit different, a little taller, but then, you know, I knew Mario when I seen him. And then I seen him in the obituaries where his son died right after him, and he was always waiting on his son's phone call. Always waiting on his son's phone call. See what happened to Mario? Mario was a big-time drug dealer back in the day, you know, with some, you know, good gangsters and mobsters, you know what I'm saying, like we all do back in the day. And they tried to bring up here, you know what I'm saying, nowadays, but we don't want that shit. And Mario, you know what I'm saying, sold drugs, you know what I'm saying. And like I did, steroids, but he sold, you know, marijuana. I ain't sell marijuana or nothing, you know. I could have put my money in with my homeboy, got a little cut back and all that shit, but my boy told me one day, man, my cousin, Shake, you know what I'm saying, Eden, he told me, Darryl Eden, he said, cuz, man, you know, you married and shit, cause I was married to his cousin, you know. And he said, you married and shit, you know, got a kid and shit. I had my son, you know. And he said, you don't need that shit, man, you know what I'm saying? And he started telling me about it and shit, and, you know, didn't want me to do it, because I knew I had a homeboy that I was going to give money to that had a good job like I did, but he sold, you know, weed, you know. And I just didn't do it after that. Took care of my family. But then I did, you know, make my trips to Mexico to get my shit. You know what I'm saying? And pharmacy and shit over there, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, it got started because I had to get a gold in my mouth. You know what I'm saying? To get that chipped tooth that I had from Inch, which was Sean, you know what I'm saying? A little bit of Sean, and it's somebody else that you mix with Sean to get Inch. And you know what I'm saying? And Inch was a little big old chest dude, you know what I'm saying? Inch had a big old chest, you know what I'm saying? And strong. I mean, had some arms, some biceps, triceps. Inch was a big old dude, but he wasn't about 5 feet. And then say when he got in the army, you had to be 5 feet to get in. He had to tiptoe by the inch, you know what I'm saying? That's why we call him Inch, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, Inch was my nephew Sean, and somebody else might be his daddy, you know what I'm saying? In it too, Michael Parks or somebody, but Inch was, you know, just Inch, you know what I'm saying? And Inch was one of the coolest dudes in the world. Every one of my friends was best friends. You know, my stepdaughter, she told me one day, you know, Tisha, you know what I'm saying? I don't really consider them stepdaughters because I know they real from another life, you know what I'm saying? And what happened, Daddy? Shit, get to the point. No, let me tell this lady, you know, what she was seeing, you know what I'm saying? You know, it's like it's like one day I was in the tool room, and it was an air condition right in front of me, you know what I'm saying? It was an air condition, you know, one of the air conditions out of, you know, that they built onto it. It was, you know, it hangs out the back, you know what I'm saying, and it blows, you know, you got the dials and stuff in the front. But it was in the front of me, you know what I'm saying, in the trailer. Then to the right-hand side, you had your ice box. Miss Judy had an ice box. It was up high, you know, a little bitty ice box, you know what I'm saying, just enough to, you know, keep just some drinks in, you know, like I had in the Army, you know what I'm saying. We just kept ours full of beer, you know what I'm saying. That's all we kept in. And cigarettes. I kept my cartons of cigarettes in there. I kept them fresh back then. I ain't care about them being fresh when I got back home to the States. I worked too goddamn hard. And then, damn, what was it, Daddy? Oh, and I was sitting there and I was reading the Word of God, you know what I'm saying, over the Bible. Then I would write down my notes, you know. I wrote I had me a little tablet then, you know what I'm saying, little tablet, you know what I'm saying. Your little yellow tablet, it was yellow, canary yellow, you know what I'm saying. And I was writing in it. I wrote some real pretty poems in it. You know, I used to trip Judy out, you know what I'm saying? Because, you know, I would just leave whatever on the desk I'd be working on, and I would just leave it, you know, and I wouldn't think none of it if it was complete or incomplete, I'd leave it. I don't ever leave nothing incomplete, though. I always finish my sentences before I cut it off. And, before I stop. And then, so I fell asleep like this in the chair, you know, just like this in the chair, just like this chair was her chair. And it feels just like the same right now. I'm leaning back in it now. So I'm leaning back in the chair, you know what I'm saying, sleep like a song gun. You know, John didn't give a fuck, you know what I'm saying, I ain't give a fuck either. If he caught me, either, shit. And cause he put me here to just sit, you know what I'm saying, and just fuck off, you know what I'm saying. I ain't argue with him. I'm just gonna sit in here and not do nothing. Judy wasn't there. So I was sleep my ass off. Then all of a sudden I heard Rigo and Palmer and Raj and Stavina and everybody, especially Stavina voice. I heard it clear, loud and clear. Come on, Jackson. Henry and, Eugene and G and Daniel, I heard them, like they was on the van and they was calling my name. Come on, Jackson. Come on, Jackson. Come on, Jackson. So, I heard them and then shit, I woke up, got up, like this. When I got up like this, I turned to walk around, but when I saw myself, I said, and fell back in my body. It was like it sucked me back in. Like she said, that rubber band, how you pull it all the way. Then, you let it go before it break or something. You let it go and it pop back. That's the way I pop back in this body. Like everything in me wanted me back in. You know what I'm saying? Was scared to let me go. And if I got mad at myself. I got mad at myself because I didn't go and I felt like I missed my trip. You know what I'm saying? And that's the way I've been feeling all this time. I feel like I missed my trip. You know what I'm saying? But I know I made it because shit, I'm here with this boy here, this little Adam right here. And this my little grandson right here, little Dirt. Shit, little badass. Yeah, you're little badass. But then, what? The pot. What? Pot. Come on, young boy. Shit. Oh, man. Shit. But like I say, it pull you back in the body, you know what I'm saying? It ain't gonna let you go, man. But then if you somebody that's just wanna deny God, then, then you them that don't come back. Don't come back. You know what I'm saying? What? Huh? Yeah. Yeah. Yes, sir. When you gonna get them words right, man? I know we ain't nothing but two. Yeah. Yeah. Why are you trying to choke me? You with your little bad butt. What's your little bad butt? He'll be 3 January 28. That little bad rascal. Little bad rascal, you. What you doing, man? What? You just really, let me finish listening to this lady. You be quiet.
Assuming you go to, at that point, I wasn't saved. I didn't have a relationship with God, so I probably would have busted hell wide open. But anyways, so then I see that and I'm like tripped out. And then now I turn because the angel starts speaking to me. So I turn and I'm facing the angel and we're talking. Now he starts speaking to me in that heavenly language, but I'm hearing it translated in English as to where I can understand what he's saying. And he's saying to me again, he's telling me that God has a calling on my life. He has a will that I have to fulfill. So God's will has to be fulfilled in my life, and I'm way off course. I'm not even on track. Like, I'm like way over here, and I'm supposed to be here. And he's explaining this to me. And again, I'm so intrigued, you guys. Like, I'm totally distracted. I say again, really, oh my God, you're so big. The angel had, he was so cool, y'all. I knew him. The familiarity between us was so just organic. I knew who he was. I was familiar in his presence, and I said, man, you're so big. And I was looking at his feet and I was panning up, and as I said, man, you're so big, he laughed and he said, you always say that. And when he said, you always say that, that blew my mind, because when he said that, I was given the knowledge, the automatic knowledge that this angel has been with me since before I left my mother's womb. He has always been with me, and I knew him, and he had manifested himself to me before when I was a very small child. And so that information was given to me, and I just went into full blown praise and glorifying God again. I'm like, oh my God, I'm jumping up and down, screaming at the top of my lungs, just acting just a plum fool up in there, you guys, because I could not believe what was going on. And so
I act like that too. I cried,
then I went
he act a fool.
Again, soak up all the information I could, and I'm looking at him, and I'm looking at, again, his feet. I looked at the clothes he was wearing. I looked at the girdle he had around his waist. And then I got up to about right here. And then I saw the ends of his hair. I saw about that much of his hair.
This is going to be my barber,
and it was like spun
He
gold.
gonna cut my
the curls of his hair were so beautiful and perfect. And they were like spun gold.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like blonde. It was literally like
you ain't gonna
spun
get no cartoons
gold, you guys.
Now,
and it was shining and reflecting, and it was crazy. And then there was glory cloud. I wasn't allowed to see his face. And I understood when I saw that mist again that I was not permitted, and it was forbidden for me to see his face. So I didn't even ask. It was the thought of me just, saying, man, let me see your face, man. I mean, it didn't even cross my mind. It was just like I saw that mist, and it was like, boom, you're not allowed to see his face, and that's it. And so after that happened, I remember hearing his name. I heard his name, and I would just say this. It sounded like it was, from my understanding, it's like 26 letters in his name. That's what my finite mind was telling me, that there's 26 letters in his name. But when you hear his name, it's not letters. Because I knew that I would not be able, I wasn't permitted to say his name on the earth, because I don't have the capacity to in this body. It's like I can't even explain it. It's like you don't have the vocal cords or something. Like you can't say it in any language on earth. And so when I did later on, I would just say this as a side note, later on it was revealed to me that it was the angel Gabriel, because after I left that place and I was trying to remember how to say his name after I came back, the only thing that I could say was Gibraltar. I knew that it sounded like Gibraltar, that word Gibraltar.
Like Fitzgerald.
I carried that for all these years, and then it was only about a year and a half ago, about a year ago, I said that the Lord revealed to me that it was the angel Gabriel that I was conversing with, and that I was up there with, talking to, and hanging out with. And so after that happened, I looked to my right, and there was a young woman coming towards us, and she was holding a basket, and then the angel kind of moved out the way and stepped back, and then this woman came to me. She had this big smile on her face, and she was looking like she was, like we haven't seen each other in a while. I didn't recognize her. I don't remember recognizing her, but she had this woven basket in her arm, and she opened the basket, and she kind of looked at me to look in the basket, like, kind of motioning me to look at the basket, and I'm trying to pay attention to everything around me. I'm like, man, I don't know what's going on with what you got going on in that basket, but whatever's in that basket ain't comparing to anything that I'm looking at right now. Like I was just blown away, like tripped out. And then she didn't move. And so I noticed that she didn't move, and I kind of got like a little irritated that she was like disrupting my soaking time. And so she just kept smiling at me, and she motioned to me to like look in the basket. And so I did. I looked in the woven basket, and there's this little baby in there. And it was just a little baby, and he was sleeping. He was asleep. And I was like, okay, I looked in the basket. Yeah, he's cute. And she closed the basket, and she walked off. And then as she's walking off, I'm turning, watching her walk away. And then I noticed there's a table behind me. And so now I'm turning around like, man, it's a table behind me. And it was this great, huge, big table lined with chairs on both sides, a banquet table lined with chairs on both sides. And there were a few people sitting at this table. And I was looking at the table, and again, the table ran the full length of this balcony. Like I said, this balcony went for miles and miles and miles. And so now I'm tripping out over this table. So now I want to see what's on the table, because I'm seeing that there's people. There's a doorway to the left of me behind this table. There's a great big doorway, and there's lines of people going in and out from this table through this doorway. And they were carrying stuff like plates and napkins and forks and spoons, and they were setting this table with food and plates and cups and all that stuff. So then as I'm seeing this happen, I'm like, oh, they're finna have a party. I'm like, they're about to have a party. And I'm like, man, I want to come to this party. Like this party looks like it's about to be lit. Like this is about to be a party.
You know, I don't mean to cut you off, But I always heard about that party and that balcony I've been on. I just came off of it when you told me about a show pop. But then, I always remember this train in the sky. And it go all the way around to East Nation, but it's just going around like a train track that go just basically around, a oval. Not oval, but the round, the way the train track, the play train tracks that you used to buy a long time ago that you don't have no more, that you should get back again and start making electric race tracks where we got, so the kids can have real race tracks and real race cars going around a racetrack. And they can play together and share that, and that's a fun game, you know what I'm saying? And then, come up with better, cell phones for kids, you know what I'm saying? Cell phones strictly for a kid. You don't have to have the numbers on it, but you could have numbers on it just strictly for parents, grandparents, aunties, uncles, basic numbers for them and them own, not for their girlfriend, boyfriend stuff, too young. I'm talking about like 2 and 3, 4-year-old, 5-year-old cell phone. And then it's just basic numbers of they important family members that they need to support them, not, it's just, you don't even have to have it. You could have it programmed to the parents' desires to what they want to watch and stuff like that. But then it's really for the cartoons and stuff. Get a kid something to walk around with. And games, you know what I'm saying? We used to have games that was pocket games, you know what I'm saying? Like Donkey Kong and bring that back, you know what I'm saying? And what else? Space asteroids and stuff like that. Remember the asteroids where they had a little cursor that go around, look like a little diamond, and it go around and shoot the rocks, you know what I'm saying? The big meteors, you know what I'm saying? It shoots them before it hit the plane or, whatever, spaceship or whatever you protecting, you know what I'm saying? Games like that, them was good games. I know they basic to you because we got all this advanced stuff. But you really ain't got no advanced stuff. Because if you go to Chuck E. Cheese, it's just basic. You know what I'm saying? It ain't no all out, you know what I'm saying, good game rooms no more, you know what I'm saying? Game room used to have good Pac-Man, this and that, football game, you know what I'm saying? On the PS4, and all that. Y'all got good football and all that, but they got a game called Intellivision. If you pull Intellivision back up, Intellivision had a playbook, thick playbook. And you didn't know what plays that your buddy was going to run because he had a playbook too. He had the same playbook, but it had so many plays in it that, you can't tell what somebody pushed when he pushed in 151. You know what I'm saying? 942, you know what I'm saying? Them numbers to the plays, and then you had a, just like this, this is the kind of button you had. You just, go around, and if you want to run and you run fast forward, you can go push it straight, you run, you come back, do a juke mark, you know what I'm saying? Juke. You can juke somebody, you can go round and round, you know what I'm saying? You can go round and round with it, you know what I'm saying? It's just how your thumb is. And then there was another thing, track meet for track. It had, where you run, you hit a button and make it go fast, run faster. You keep pressing that button down, keep hitting it hard, fast, and the quicker you do it, the quicker the man run. And then you hit it real hard, you know what I'm saying? Hit that button real hard, and then it jumps. You know what I'm saying? Hit it a certain way, or hit a A, or hit a X or O, and it jumps. You know what I'm saying? long jump, you know what I'm saying, or high jump, you know what I'm saying, all them good games, you know what I'm saying, we had, you know what I'm saying, we had all them good games, you know what I'm saying, we had all them good games. So, we can get better on what we do and when we start giving away stuff instead of buying and selling and lending and expecting stuff, money back and loans and student loans. Man, college education ain't yours to sell. It ain't yours to sell. How you gonna pay the teachers? God already paid the teachers. Just like dog paid y'all to mess over God, God paid y'all already. Everything that dog paid you, plus more. Because when I call that bank tomorrow, whenever I call that bank, when I say my name, Adam Jackson, they should know that that's the man that all the companies in the world went against, and the churches, and everything they got is mine. So I shouldn't have a problem buying me no truck. Bank that lost they stripes ain't even no bank no more. We got Peck now. Peck's perfected paradise. So Peck is a bank. You know what I'm saying? That's love, you know what I'm saying? Hen Peck is to love everybody, you know what I'm saying? Love every chicken, hen, duck that you got in the goddamn pen. Even the rabbits, goddamn shit. And the rooster came home to the hens to roost.
And so I go up to the table, and the angel kind of like stays to the right of me, kind of off to the side, like allowing me to soak up all this stuff. And so I'm looking on the table, and I'm noticing that there's plates. The plates are being set, but then I'm drawn to the middle of the table. In the middle of the table, there's bread baskets that was along, it ran along the middle of the entire length of this table. Like I said, again, it went on for miles. And so I go to look at in the bread basket, and I'm noticing that there's all these different type of bread in each basket, like different
That's
shapes
my
and
sister,
sizes and
Sister
colors.
Williams.
Just
She
all these
is the
different breads.
Destinee
And then all of a
Williams.
sudden I hear the voice
You know
of
what I'm
God again,
saying?
this very authoritative, strong, just
Williamz-Mcpherson.
powerful voice
So,
say,
you know what I'm saying?
every
That's my
piece.
sister. She got
He
sister
said
on
something
here.
like, and I can't remember
Sister
exactly the words, but it was
Destinee Williams.
something very close to this.
So that's
He
daddy's
said,
last name,
and there
really.
are no two breads
My daddy last
alike.
name Williams.
He said
Will
every
I
piece of bread
am, my
is
majesty.
is basically
My
is
mad
specially
justice.
made for each person. So everybody got their own loaf of bread, and that blew my mind. I'm like, this has to be maybe at least 1 million baskets of bread with what, maybe 12 pieces of bread in it. And I'm like, man, who is back there cooking one piece of bread, for all these people that are coming to this party? And so that blew my mind. And again, I glorify God. I started screaming again, excited, like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm here. This is so cool. Like, everybody get their own bread. And again, the angel's laughing, he's chuckling, and everybody's just like so happy that I'm this excited to be where I am. Like, they were laughing, like, with excitement. Like, they understood my excitement. And so I had a moment where I said to myself, the thought, like I said, there were intrusive thoughts that would kind of try to sneak in, because like I said, I was so much in disbelief, and I knew that I didn't deserve to be there. So there were like these intrusive thoughts that would come and say, yeah, you're right, you don't deserve to be here, you're dirty, you're nasty, you're filthy, you're evil, and all this stuff. And so then like I said, there was a thought that came to my mind, and I said, is this real? Is this real? Is this really happening? Now, keep in mind, you guys, I knew that it was a dream. Or not a dream. I knew that this was not a dream. I knew I was physically, spiritually there. Like, however I got there, it really was happening. But I kept saying, is this real? Because it was just so mind-blowing to me. I was like, is this real? Is this really happening? And as I thought that, God, the voice of God said, look. And I turned, and off into the distance, God, like I said, he focused, like magnified my eyesight where I could see far off in the distance down this balcony. There was a white woman, a small stature white woman, and she had like a little blonde bob. And God said, look at her. She's wearing pajamas. She was laying in her bed, just like you were when I sent the angel to come and get you, to bring you to this place. And then it was like you're right. He confirmed to me that this was really happening, because I was in bed, like not sleeping, but I was in a bed, laying down, or not laying down, sitting up in the bed at night, watching TV in my pajamas, and God made it a point for me to see this woman who was in her bed, sleep, I don't know, but she was in her bed in her pajamas, and he said, look, this is really happening. This is really happening.
Your sister.
And when he did that, I again, like I said, I burst into excitement again. The joy was just uncontainable. Like I couldn't even keep it in, and I was glorifying God and saying, thank you, man. Like, this is crazy. Like, I can't believe you brought me here. And then the next thing I know, I noticed that the angels, like his demeanor changed. His head was bowed, and I could feel his sadness. It was like waves of sadness started like penetrating my soul. And I didn't say what's wrong or anything like that. It was just like, now I'm in front of him, and I don't even remember turning around, but now I'm just standing right in front of him. And he says, you don't have a lot of time. And when he said time, it was like, it hit me like, what? I'm like, what do you mean? And the thought, again, here I go, I'm thinking, I'm like, what does he mean? What do you mean? Am I going to die? Like, I don't have a lot of time. Like, time for what? Like, I'm going to die soon? And so I go into this panic mode. And then as I'm like going into this panic mode, he says, come, he wants me to show you something. This is where it gets scary. So that doorway that I said that was behind this banquet table that the people were going in and out of, like fixing the table, we walked towards that doorway. Excuse me, I'm sorry. When we get to that doorway, I turn right, and to the right, they were going in and out of the doorway, but they were going to the left. When we go into this doorway, we went right. And when we turned right, there was this big, ancient, super thick door with like wooden engravings on it and stuff like that. And we're standing right in front of this door. Then all of a sudden, the door kind of dissipates. It just disappears. And now I'm looking into this deep, dark, black space. This space was just space. I didn't see walls. I didn't see a ceiling. I didn't see a floor. It was just dark space. And as we're standing there, I'm kind of like, oh, okay, what are we looking at? Like, what's going on? And then all of a sudden, the darkness starts moving. The darkness starts slithering and folding in on itself and moving. And then I was like, whoa. And I'm like, it's alive. That's the thought that came into. I'm like, this darkness is alive. It was tangible.
That's what I'm saying. When I say, when you get ready to change, I ain't gonna say die or go to sleep or pass out. You know what I'm saying? You could actually see if somebody around you, kids or something, especially kids, if adults, say you fighting and you pass out, you know what I'm saying? You blank out. All them kids in the room and anybody, that's deserving to be in heaven, gonna come in your body, you know what I'm saying? And you're gonna be able to see the white apparitions, like you say, the darkness folding up, showing you that darkness can be moved and can be done. It's just going slithering, just darkness. Well, when you turn that light on, that's when you see a figure, if it's there. But if it's in the spirit, you ain't gonna see no figure, you ain't gonna see no flesh, you don't see no matter. But then that's what happens, all the, everything runs in you. Like, just picture, for instance, Jesus on the cross. You know what I'm saying? When Jesus went up on that cross, everybody that loved him was the souls that he took in, and you couldn't see it. I wouldn't have showed you that, but it would have been a whole bunch of black figures, like smoke going in Jesus, because that's the spirit, representing the spirit is the black smoke, the charcoal smoke. That's why I talk about burnt offerings. And not for sacrifice, though. I don't give a damn about no sacrifice. I give a damn about mercy and grace and forgiveness and charity and servitude, you know what I'm saying? But yes, the darkness represents, the spirit, and the spirit of vessels, you know what I'm saying? Sanctuaries, people, angels, gods.
Feel it. It didn't touch me. I didn't touch it. And I didn't go into that space. I didn't walk into that space. I'm standing in front of this space. But this blackness was so black, you guys. I have never in my life seen this black. And it was alive. And I remember saying, it's alive. And it has an intelligence. Like, it knows.
And you know that's another thing I always tell y'all about when I died, you know what I'm saying? I heard somebody saying, just die, just die, just die. Then all of a sudden I raised up and I threw up. All black stuff. But later on God told me it was cold blood, you know what I'm saying? Black, being in the icebox or whatever, And then, it was like the people that came out of me, you know what I'm saying? That throwing up was black tar, but it was the people, the spirits of the people coming out of me, the people that denied me or didn't want me or killed me, you know what I'm saying? Got rid of me, didn't want me no more. Didn't know God or didn't know God was the air they breathe. But then they had to wake me up, and then a lady said, it's just die, it's just die. And it was a lady, and I guess they cleaned me up because I fell back down. And that's where my grandmother, she threw up some dark stuff, they said, and she fell down in a coma till she died. A week or two later, I think it was a week, they kept her like 7 days, I think. I thought it like 2 weeks. And I talked to her every night. And I'm still right here, Adam. We, the family, you know what I'm saying? That's why I kind of do look like Diane. And I do look like Nita because she a Johnson. But Peck, right now, I can't get that out my throat, Adam. God forgive me, Adam, for judging Peck. I know he had no knowledge of who he was or you know what I'm saying, until he picked up that Bible, and I thank him for that. Because it did change our family's life. That's why me, Kay, and Hazel couldn't look at you, couldn't talk to you, because you was Peck. And you was Adam. And you was Sugar Man. And y'all was dead. All three men, you know what I'm saying? Except for Richard James, Jeremy, Champ, Sean, and Trail. Only 2 Jacksons. You know what I'm saying? Now you got Jeremy Jackson. You got you got Jeremy Champ, Jakai, and Lil Logan. The rest of them got their family name. You know what I'm saying? But that's a trip. You know what I'm saying? That's a trip.
It's here, and I'm here because it's when it's moving, and the more that I was recognizing it, like I was like, oh my God, it's alive. Like, what is it? I was like starting becoming more and more intrigued by this darkness, like trying to see what it was. It started like paying attention to me, like slithering and folding in on itself, like letting me know that it sees me. And then I started feeling that it recognized me. And then it was letting me know that it was me and I was it. That was the thought. It was the exchange of the energy.
That darkness
I didn't hear a voice coming from this black thing.
It was
self.
Just the people of yourself.
It started to become like, you know who I am. I know who you are. I am you. You are me. We are one. It was that type of deal. Yeah. And so I'm like grossed out by this blackness. And then I start feeling waves of all this negativity. I started like feeling like I was being gut punched. Like it was like this blackness was throwing darts at me. And I started feeling like the feeling, I can't even explain it. It was like the feeling of pornography, the feeling of sex, the feeling of shame, the feeling of guilt, the feeling of being a liar, the feeling of being a murderer. It was like all these negative, vile, evil feelings, like balls of energy being thrown at me and like being punched in the gut. And then to the left of me, to the left, the whole time the angel was just on my left side, and he had his head down. He was looking down like he was just so heartbroken. And I felt, at a moment, I felt his hurt. His heart was breaking that he had to show me this. And so I looked to the left into this space, and I saw three very, 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 very faint pins of light, and they looked just like the flame on a candle. It looked like somebody lit a candle, but it was so black in there that the little light, you could just see that it was three lights just suspended in the air, and they were flickering, and they were off in the far left part of this space, this dark space. And then I looked, my attention was diverted to an image, and I saw an image, and this image was my child's father, who I was in a relationship with at the time, and he was holding our son, and our daughter was sitting on his lap. And it was a very grainy 2D image, and it was kind of like a very bad copy of a 2D image. I can't even explain it. It was just suspended in this space, and they weren't moving or anything. It was just the image of them, and it was like really grainy and really it just looked really bad. And when I saw that, I got very, very angry. It was an uncontrollable anger. It was like I literally turned into evil. And at this very moment, you guys, I became the blackness. When I felt that anger, that black goo stuff turned its whole being towards me and shot right towards me. And I became that blackness, and I had no control of myself. I had no control of my thoughts. I had no control of nothing. I just became that blackness and everything that made up that blackness, all the evil, all the nastiness. Mm-hmm. And I turned to the angel, and I said, you tell him. And I was telling the angel to tell this to God. When I became that dark blackness, I turned and I said, you tell him F-U-B word. And before I could say the actual, let me explain this part so you guys can understand what I'm trying to say. I turned to the angel to tell the angel to tell him, God. I said, you tell him. And I knew what I was going to say. But before the thought left, because I knew what I was going to say, but before the thought entered the atmosphere or whatever, I was popped back into my body. I was kicked out of the presence of this heavenly angel. But I knew what I was going to say. I said, you tell him, and I knew I was going to say F-U-B. But before I could basically put the thought out there to tell the angel, I was kicked out of the angel's presence. And so I felt myself basically being kicked out, plopped. I bounced off the bed. I felt my spirit or my soul enter back into my body. I popped off the bed, and I was just sitting there in shock, y'all. I could not move. I could not talk. I could not do anything. I sat there until my mom and my stepfather walked in the house. My mom, and I don't even know how much time went by, y'all. I can't even tell y'all. Maybe an hour. It could have been 30 minutes. It could have been 3-4 hours. I don't know. But my mom and my stepdad come into the apartment, and my mom goes, hey, Muff, and that's what my nickname is. She's like, hey, Muff, and she walks past the room. And then I'm just sitting there looking spooked and creeped out, not even moving. I just was sitting there. I was scared to move. And she came to the room and she said, what's going on? You okay? And I don't even remember the exact words I said, but I was stumbling over my words. I said, something happened and I don't know what happened. And my mom said, well, we'll talk about it in the morning. And that's how that happened. But all the way up until maybe a couple days ago, you guys, I didn't know what the end of that visitation meant all the way up until a couple days ago. And I'm going to make a second part to follow up with this video to tell you guys more about the revelation God gave me on that, which you guys probably already at this point know that God had directed the angel to show me a glimpse of hell in the state I was in, and that's where I was going to go. If I were to die that night, I was that blackness. I was going to be owned by that blackness. I was going to become hell, and I was going to hell. And he just let me see the outer darkness. The darkness, you guys, put fear in me. I was so afraid of this black stuff that was alive. The fear was immeasurable. I have the angel Gabriel next to me, and I was in fear of this stuff because I could not understand what it was, and it was being contained in this space, and I knew that it couldn't get me, but God allowed that stuff to touch me just so I could have understanding of the state that my soul was in at that time. And I praise God for that. So I wanted to share that with you guys. And I'm going to be making, like I said, a second part as a follow-up to this video as God gives me the commandment to. And I'm going to wait on the Lord before I do that, because this is very important to God, that I obey his commandment and share my testimony with you guys about what God showed me. And I want to reiterate again, this was not a dream. This was not a vision. This was an actual translation. I was taken into the abode of the Most High. I was in his presence. I heard his voice. I felt the mist, the cool of the day that the Bible talks about, that Adam and Eve walked in, that mist, that coolness. I felt it. I was standing and talking to the angel Gabriel. It's amazing. And again, God had met me where I was. I was not a perfect person. I wasn't even searching for God. But God knows our hearts, and he knows what he formed us to be. He knows what he called us to be. And God does not fail. He has every intention for us to walk in our purpose and the calling that he has over our life. And he gives us all the tools. And some of us are so stiff-necked and hard-headed that he has to show us these things. And I'm one of those people. And there's nothing special about me. I want to say that, reiterate that. There ain't nothing special about me. Nothing. I still to this day am like so unworthy of what God showed me. Because you would think after going to where God took me and seeing the things that God showed me that I would be, Paul or, Peter or, some mighty woman of God by now, like out here preaching the gospel, standing on street corners and, slinging holy water on people at this point. Like, no, I went back into the world 100 times after God blessed me with that visitation. Like I said, we're always in a refiner's fire. God's never done with us. Until he calls us home, we're incomplete. We are sinful beings, and we need God. We need him. We need him. We need him so bad. And that's why his son died for us, because there was no other way. There was no other way. Jesus is the way and the only way. He is the way and the only way. Jesus is the way and the only way. He is the word of God, and the word of God never fails. Okay, so God bless you guys. Please keep me in prayer. Please keep me in prayer, you guys, because again, like I said, I am so imperfect. I am not perfect. I'm so stubborn and stiff-headed, stiff-necked and hard-headed, and I need the Lord so bad, because I don't want to fail him. I want to finish this race, and I want to make him proud, and I want to help the Lord bring as many souls through the door as possible. So that is it for today. I hope this testimony blesses each and every one of you who listen to it, and I hope you guys take it up in prayer. Ask the Lord to confirm what you just heard, because God is not a liar. He will never, ever contradict his word. He would not put anybody's soul at risk and send someone in his name under a lie. So you guys, yeah, that's like the main thing that I like to reiterate when I share this testimony. Like, you guys, please take it up with God in prayer, especially if you're actively searching for God's own heart. Like, seriously, that's what our testimonies, those of us who God reveals himself to, is for, because it's supposed to draw you closer to God. All right. Thank you guys. Love you guys. And I hope this blesses each and every one of you. Have a good day. Bye.